get to that 20 grand a month, what would that allow you to do? So let's say there was a way to possibly help you with, fixing your marketing so you could grow the business to that 200K a month, which is like, I think you said double of where you're at now. Like, what would that allow you to do? Same tonality, same verbal pausing, okay? Now let me explain to you the fucking difference and why you're gonna make a lot more sales if you do it this way. I am not looking for them to tell me, I'll have freedom, I'll be happy, I'll be excited. No shit, Sherlock. No shit, if you lost weight, you would feel happy. No shit, if you doubled your business, you'd feel happy. The difference is I want 2 to 3 tangible. Let me explain what that looks like. So hey man, let's say there was a way to possibly help you in doubling your business to that 200K a month. What would that allow you to? Oh, I'd be able to buy a house. Oh really, man? What type of house you wanna buy? And where are you buying it? Texas. How much do you think that would cost you, like give or take? 500 grand in case you need about like 100 grand for the down payment? Okay. And how far are you from like the 100 grand you need for the down payment? You got 20, okay, so you got another 80 left to go. So when I was in this section of the script, okay, I wanted 2 to 3 specific goals. So they would obviously give me a vague goal, right? They'd be like, oh, I'd buy a house, or oh, I'd be able to take a vacation. I'd be like, oh, very cool, man. Where are you flying? Japan. Oh, very cool. First class economy? How you go? And you're going by yourself, you're taking the family. So they would give me, which most people do unconsciously, a surface level answer of like what they actually wanted to do when they achieved the desired outcome. I then took those dreams that were just surface level and I made them deep. I went deep with them. How much was their house that they wanted to buy? How far were they from the down payment? You want to retire by 50. How much money do you have in the bank? How much money do you need to have? Okay, so you're $2 million away. You want to take a vacation. Where do you want to go? I want to take care of my family. Okay, in what way? You want to give your mom 20 grand. How far are you from the 20 grand you need in the bank? I made it so specific, which caused them to then make this so-called dream a goal. The difference between why some people make more sales when they future-based and they don't is because you get specific. Most of your prospects, when they tell you a goal, let's say I sell fitness and they're like, I want to be able to, have a better sex life, take my shirt off at the beach. I have to get them to actually imagine. Like, hey man, you being able to kind of take your shirt off for the first time in 10 years, like, how does it feel being able to take your shirt off without all that extra weight? Oh man, it feels great. Yeah, but what would you do? I'd be able to finally run without my shirt. I have to make this shit real. Because most people, when they have a problem, whether it's in their business, their fitness, regardless of what you sell, they've usually had that problem for a while. And so imagining what the future would look like to sustain that identity shift is different. In this section of the script, this last half of emotional certainty, I have to be very enthusiastic. So it's like, oh really, man? Where are you flying to? First class economy? How are you going? I have to be enthusiastic, which automatically makes them more enthusiastic, and that's how I'm gonna make the gap bigger. Okay, so just to be clear, whether you close a sale or not, your goal is to leave this section with 2 to 3 specific fucking goals of what this person wants to do. A lot of times when I used to sell salespeople, they would tell me like, hey man, I want to be able to retire by X age. And I'd be like, okay, great. How much do you need to make? And they'd be like, I need 4 million. I'm like, okay, how far are you from the 4 million? Oh man, I'm really far. No, but man, how far? Get specific. How far are you? Oh, I got about 100 grand. Okay, so you need about 3.9 million left. Okay, and you make about 100 grand a year now? Yeah, man, that's not happening by 50. So how much do you really need to make in order to get to that 3.9 million by the age of 40 if you're 20 right now? Oh, well, man, I got to make 400 grand a year. Okay, and so you're at 100 now. So we got to get there in 20 years, bro. Like, I made it so specific, which if you think about, what does that do? Makes the gap way bigger. So think about 2 to 3 specific goals that your offer, what product or service you sell actually does, and you need to make it specific. Now, once I make it tangible, I make it real, then I'm gonna go into this next question, which is gonna land so well because I've made it specific. Okay, let me role play with you so you understand how it works. Okay, man, so tell me one thing. You being able to kind of lose that 60 pounds, right? So you're able to be the mom you want to be. You're able to take that, have that bikini picture while you run in the ocean. You being able to feel that confidence of fitting in that, dress you mentioned. What would that do for like you personally? Like being able to actually do those things. Okay, so tell me one thing. You being able to obviously get the business to 200K, right? So you're able to get that down payment of 100 grand for that dream house, take that first class trip to Japan, spend more time with the kids and take them on those vacations, like money aside. What would that do for like you personally, being able to actually do those things? Okay, so tell me one thing, man, like you being able to triple your commissions and get to that 30K a month so that, you get that extra 50 grand you need for the down payment of the house. You buy that, that Mustang at 50 grand that you're wanting, being able to take your mom on that vacation. Money aside, what would that do for like you personally, being able to actually do those things? Same tonality. Think about that question for a second. The only reason that question lands as well as it does is because it's so fucking specific, man. I take the context that they've given me and I simply attach it and then I slow my pacing down. In this question, you're looking for deep answers. You're looking for answers like, man, it would feel amazing. I feel like a weight would be lifted off my shoulder. I would feel like a different person. All right, so when I used to sell fitness, usually people would say something along the lines of, man, I would just feel like a new person. When I used to sell sales training, they would usually say like, I feel like a weight would be lifted off my shoulder. When I sold business coaching, it would be, I'd finally be the father I want to be. This is where shit gets deep. And so you're very understanding. When people are telling you these answers, like this is where you're just nodding your head. You're like, that's sort of your facial expression, okay? Now, to recap real quick. I've created an identity shift. I've got them to justify why they can't do it by themselves. I've got them to understand why they haven't taken action. I've got them to understand what's shifted that's made them want to take action. I have then got them to future pace tangible goals. I've got them emotionally bought in. But now we have one last step, which is now I need to get them to realize if they don't take action. And so I'm gonna give you a few examples of how you do this. After I ask, what would it do for the person? Okay, man, so tell me one thing. Because you obviously have a great goal of why you're doing what you're doing, but human beings usually get after it when there's a big enough reason to do something and a big enough consequence if you don't. Tell me one thing, man, what if you don't? What happens if you don't acquire the advanced skills necessary to become that 50K a month salesperson so that you can take that first class trip to Maldives with your wife, you're able to get that 80 grand you need to put into your your daughter's college education, and you're able to be the dad you want to be. Like, what if those things don't happen in another 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years? Okay, so tell me what happens if you don't? What happens if you're never able to lose this 60 pounds? So you're able to fit back into those clothes you want to fit to, you're able to become the mother you want to be, and you're able to get the confidence you deserve. What if those things don't happen in another 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years? Okay, man, so what happens if you don't though? What happens if you never get this business to that 200K a month business you know it can be? You're never able to take that first class vacation to Japan because you're working nonstop. Never able to be the dad you want to be. And you never put yourself in a position to actually become the owner you've always wanted to do. And nothing changes in another 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. What happens then? So this is a question I'm going to ask, and this is cost of inaction. This is how I create emotional certainty. Everything I've been doing in this section of the script, in this stage, is creating the emotional certainty of now I'm tying in all the context I've got before. I'm tying it all into cost of inaction. Now, the good thing with this question is I can ask it in any tonality. I can ask it very casually, right? If I sell fitness, I'm not gonna ask it very, hardcore, because it's something really personal. I can also, when I sell salespeople, I'll ask it very upfront. I'm like, so okay, what if you don't, man? What if you never acquire the advanced skills necessary to become that 50K a month closer so that you are able to X, Y, and Z? What if you don't do those things in another 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years? So the good thing with this question is, your tone matters, but you can ask it curiously, skeptically, confidently. You can ask it in any way you think is necessary depending on what you sell. When I sold fitness, I would ask it very calmly. Hey, what if you don't do anything about this thing? I was very calm and I was very slow. When I sold salespeople, I was way more confident when I asked them because they knew what I was asking, so I was like, you're gonna answer this fucking question, okay? So this is where I tie it in together. And the answer you're looking for, if you've done it right up to this point, are answers like, man, I would really be disappointed in myself. Or, I don't want that to happen. One thing, if somebody tries to answer this question by saying, well, I'm not gonna let that happen, your answer is gonna be, well, you already have, man. That's why it's been X amount of years since you've been here. When I used to sell fitness, they would say, hey, I really don't want to think about that. Yeah, but you already are, because it's been 5 years since we've been overweight. And then I would re-ask the question. I'd be like, so we have to consider it. So tell me, what happens if you back into the question? When I sold business coaching, oh, I'm not going to let that happen, right? Ego, business owners, a bit of an ego. And I'd be like, well, no, man, you already have. That's why your business has been at 50K a month. When I used to sell salespeople, oh, I'm not going to let that happen, man. Well, no, man, you already have. That's why you've been at 10 grand a month in commissions for the past 6 years. So you have. So tell me, what if you don't? And then I re-ask the question again. Every human being has a cost of inaction that if they don't do something, that something happens. Now, once I ask this question, I need 1 to 2 tangibles, ideally, right? So things like, I'd be disappointed in myself. I wouldn't be the father I want to be. I would be upset with myself. I'm looking for answers like that. But then I'm going to double down and I'm going to ask them this question. Any offer, any industry, you can ask this. So tell me one thing, man. What is the day-to-day feeling of you 3, 6, 12 months from now, knowing that you could have been at X, but you weren't? So hey, man, what is the day-to-day feeling for you 3, 6, 12 months from now, knowing that you could have been that 20K a month guy, but you weren't? So tell me, man, what is the day-to-day feeling for you 3, 6, 12 months from now, knowing that you could have lost the 50 pounds, but you didn't? So tell me, man, what is the day-to-day feeling of you 3, 6, 12 months from now, knowing that you could have been that 200K a month CEO, but you weren't? Notice the hand. You could have, but you weren't. Notice the hand motions. This question, you're looking for one answer and one answer only, regret. Because human beings hate regretting things. Because every human being has felt regret at some point in their life, and it's a fucking terrible feeling. The one answer you want to this question, doesn't matter what you sell, is, man, I'd have a lot of regret. And that's exactly how they'll answer it every time if you get a good consult. When I sold salespeople, fitness, business coaching, no matter what I ever sold, when I would say, hey man, what is the day-to-day feeling of you 3, 6, 12 months from now, knowing that you could have become X, but you were Y? You asked this question confidently, by the way. You're not curious, like, what would confident? What is the day-to-day feeling of you then, 3, 6, 12 months from now, knowing that you could have been X, but you're Y? You ask it confidently with certainty. And the answer you're looking for to this is, man, I'd have regret. Once they say that, then you're gonna go into the next section, which is the pitch. And in the pitch, as soon as they answer that, like I'd be regretful or whatever they say, you're gonna be like, okay man, so are you willing to continue settling for that? I want you to hear that real quick. Are you willing to continue settling for that reality? Not are you willing to continue settling for that reality? Now, why am I going to say continue? Because they're in that fucking reality. So subconsciously in their mind, I'm getting them to admit that they've been in that reality. So your next question is going to be, are you willing to continue settling for that reality? And they're going to be like, well, no, man. Okay, but why not? Every good diet starts on a Monday, new year, new me. Why actually draw a line in the sand and make a change now? Why not just keep pushing it off? Well, because if I push it off, this and that, doesn't matter what they say. Depending on what you sell, the next thing you can, the next thing you're able to ask is, and whose responsibility is it? So let's say I sell a fitness offer, I'm always going to say whose responsibility is it, because that's going to prevent the partner objection. Now, if I sell business coaching and it's a CEO, and it's an individual CEO, I'm probably not going to say, well, whose responsibility is it, right? Because that'll just trigger his or her ego without any reason. Are you willing to continue selling for that? No? Okay, but why not, man? Every good diet starts on Monday, new year, new me. Why not just continue selling for it? Well, because if I settled and this happens and that happens, I can't settle. Okay, and whose responsibility is it? It's mine. Okay, well, based on what you shared, what we're doing and what XYZ company is doing will work for you. And if you'd like, I can make a game plan now, what it's going to take to get you from where you are to where you want to go. And then you're going to transition into the pitch.